Hey, what's going on? I'm John Dayton. Uh, Posting this video on my YouTube channel, but mainly shot it and put it on YouTube so I could easily get it over to Facebook. What I'm talking about today, as you can uh, see, that I do a lot of different things on my YouTube channel, but I have a lot of things going on. I'm a very busy person. But I'm going to try to show what I got here is the Positive Grid Spark 40 amp. And sorry, I'm the worst videographer, but just kind of getting the image here of that, and then I can go back to shooting me. Sorry, I have to hold my camera, my phone today to shoot this. But the reason I'm doing this video is because there's a lot of retail angst surrounding this amp. I started seeing it advertised on the internet, I don't know, early fall, like September, and saw that they were going to take these early orders for it and you'd get a really great discount, which I did. I got in very early November is when I think I actually placed my order. And that was the second group of discounts. So there was a deeper discount even than what I got it for. But basically, this amp will do a lot. Positive Grid is a software company that does amp modeling for guitar tones. You can recreate original tones from specific songs, specific artists, and then save those tones to an application. Prior to this amp, I guess you would save them on a computer or on a tablet or through an app in your phone and be able to work those through your sound system and sound exactly like the particular artist or song you're trying to emulate. But I'm a bass player, but I did start with guitar many years ago. Never really got anywhere with guitar. I do play. Oh, sorry, my arm got tired. I do play bass in a band, but I thought, if anything, it's a 40-watt amp. It does a lot. You can take those guitar tones that the software was created for and have them program into the amp. So if you're a guitar player, you want to sound like Eddie Van Halen playing Eruption, you can get that exact tone. You can create your own and share them to the cloud. This has like a play along feature where you could strum a few chords and it'll kick in with a drum track and a bass track, and you can then just kind of riff over that. So it does a lot of things. I have not really gotten into too much of it because as I ordered mine and then got it and started messing around with it, of course, in the meantime, all these Facebook pages started popping up, at least two that I'm on. I'd say all these, but there was two, and one of them was just basically, hey, if you got it, what do you think of it? What does it do? Shoot some video of you playing some songs, some tracks, do whatever. The other one was, I hadn't gotten it yet. When are we getting it? And it's just was post after post after post, day after day. I ordered mine way back in November. I still haven't got it. The company's not responsive. Well, yeah, the company was not very responsive. I knew it was going to take a long time. If you've ever done anything in a Kickstarter, you know that they're getting a feel to see if there's a want for the product, collecting the initial orders, seeing how many they have, then they start going into production, and then they'll start shipping them out. This really didn't go all that differently. So I wasn't expecting it in a week, 2 weeks. I knew it was going to take months. And it came out really in the heart of the COVID-19 virus. And this thing is made in China, as so many electronics are. And for something that I think retails for around $210, if it was built in the United States, it probably would cost $400. So you've got that. So it's made in China. Virus comes out. People are bitching and complaining that they're not getting it. So the big deal was for everybody to post, a picture of themselves with their amp. I'm touching it, so it is in fact here. And what makes people very angry is that I ended up with two, not for any reason other than when I got mine, and plugged it in and plugged in my base, I noticed I was getting a pinch down here in the chubby part of my forearm when my arm would brush against the bridge and a string. Well, that's odd. What's going on there? And then I noticed it was happening if my arm came in contact with the string in one of the posts from the pickup. So I'm getting shocked. I don't understand why. And I know a little bit about electronics. I'm in IT, but not really a great IT person. Just, I've had amps, I've had a lot of electronics. I've been a DJ, a party DJ, and been around the electronics of sound creation for a very long time. Just was not anything at all supposed to be normal. And I posted on Facebook, hey, I got mine, but I think I'm getting shocked. Does anybody have any ideas? And I'm looking at the power cord with it. I don't have it out nearby. It's actually plugged into the machine right now. But it doesn't look that great a quality of a power supply. It looks similar to one you'd have from a laptop. But all the laptops I have a ground, and if they're not ground, they're polarized. This is neither. It's not, the plug isn't grounded, and it's not polarized. So, of course, I post this on Facebook, and people say, well, turn the plug over. See if that helps. Well, are you in bare feet? Are you wearing socks? Maybe you're getting electricity conducted through your concrete floor. Maybe your wiring's old. Yeah, I do live in an old house, but most of it's been remodeled. Most of the wiring's been redone. And I've got GFI plugs I've tried it in. The only thing that made it go away was to wear tennis shoes. Okay, I was grounded. I grounded myself. I tried turning the plug over, one way and then turn it over the other way since it wasn't polarized, just to see if it was different in either way. And it wasn't. I was still getting shocked, and I was upset. I tried it. I have one of those little mini electric guitars. Someone gave it to me, and as a refinish project, I did the paint job on it. I was getting pinched with that. All my bases, I was getting that shock. And again, it felt like a little pinch. It felt probably not even as bad as a sting, but again, who knows? You don't mess around with electricity. That's one thing I do know about electricity. I'm not an electrician, and that's why. It's dangerous. We're going to get hurt. So I let Positive Grid know, and they did respond very quickly and said, well, we're going to send you another one. We'll send you a return authorization. They also said, we'll try plugging it in different plugs, different ways. None of that seemed to help. So I got a second one. And second one, which is the one on my table now, wasn't any different. I tried the new power supply. I even tried the old power supply on the new amp, thinking, well, maybe it's wiring in the amp. And as anybody who has told me through Facebook or whatever, and I started, because I was talking about this and people kept asking me questions about it, and I would respond. I got sort of pegged as the guy who, gets back in line at Burger King because he didn't get enough ketchup, for his fries, or didn't get any, or whatever, or they were too salt. I'm not that guy. I've worked retail. I've worked fast food. I'm in IT. I'm not like that. Okay. I don't, hound people. It takes a lot for me to say, hey, something's not right. I need help with it. I'm getting shocked. If it was a little bit of static or whatever, I'd have been like, that's fine. It's not perfect. It was less than $200. Not a big deal. It's going to just be a practice amp for me, and maybe for me to get a little better at guitar. So the second one comes. I'm still getting the shock. I report it to them. I did again find that if I wore tennis shoes in my basement, I was not getting the shock sensation. But I still didn't feel like it was right. So Positive Grid says we're going to send you a new power supply, which ultimately they did. So I got my amp. I got a replacement amp within a week, and then within almost 2 weeks, I got a replacement power supply. It sent the original amp back. So all that being said, I do have it. I'm the guy behind all those posts. And again, I was answering questions because people would give me ideas. Check your wiring. Do this, do that. You can see I'm in a completely refinished and refurbished basement in my house, and it's where I practice. All the wiring here is new. within a few years. I didn't do it, but the person I bought the house from had just done all this. I've had electricians in here to help me get set up with some of the outlets and stuff. But no one's detected a problem. Now, the one thing I didn't do was get a voltmeter and see where that voltage is coming from. My guess is somehow from the amp, there's some voltage coming back through the ground, and you have the ground wire under your bridge in an electric instrument. And somehow some small amount of voltage. And again, this is a 19 volt power supply. So that would seem about right. You know, everybody's taken a 9-volt battery and stuck their tongue on it. It's a buzz. You can feel the buzz of it. This is, you know, twice that. So, so I've got it. And so people on Facebook can see people actually do get their amps. I don't know why you didn't get yours. Oh, sorry, I got to switch arms. Some people, again, say they ordered theirs the same time they ordered mine. They're still waiting. My order number was in the 2000s. Theirs was way over that 200,000s, and they ordered it 2 weeks after mine. A couple things. I think there just was a huge media blitz for this. Every commercial on YouTube was this, and every other ad on Facebook was this. Normally, I wouldn't order from Facebook, but because Positive Grid had such a good history for doing the software for the amp modeling, you know, I thought this would be perfect. I needed another small amp that I could play guitar through. Right now, I've only ever hooked up my bass to it, and I'm going to try to set my phone down, and we can do that with my bass. And again, this is mainly to go on Facebook so people can see that people do get their amp and that it does work. It's not just a hollow box. Sorry, now you're not seeing me actually plug in to it. You see me plug in a cord, but that I can assure you it is the Positive Grid, and and I'll be able to point out where I was feeling that shock. I have it going through a very high-end power supply. Again, being a DJ, I just kind of collected a lot of that type of equipment. So this is one I would plug half my DJ gear into. We're talking a mixer, digital mixer, my laptop, out to my speakers, you know, even my lighting. Sometimes because I had two, I would put the lighting. So it can handle that sort of thing. I shouldn't have to be concerned about something I buy causing a problem. And that's where I think some people on Facebook got irritated at me. Again, I wasn't like whining and complaining. The people who are whining and complaining are saying, I'm canceling my order. They won't respond to me. They don't have a phone number. I'm not getting my way. So you're moving somebody else up in line. What can I tell you? I did get mine. Other people have gotten theirs. There's a bazillion videos on Facebook of professional musicians who have gotten them to demo. They got theirs. It's real. It does exist. And I'm just going to turn up my volume here. Make sure I get the right cord in. Oh, you know what? I'm sorry. I have my headphones plugged in. I can give my wife a break. There we go. Now, I haven't got a chance to mess with a lot of the features other than you can pair it up with your phone or a tablet. It has to be an iPad of a certain level of software and an Android device with a certain level of software. Usually if they're the most current, you'll get through. And it'll pair to the Bluetooth audio. So my practice tracks, I can go through from my phone into the amp and play. I haven't really gotten to do anything with the amp modeling. I mean, for bass, I think there was only 2 or 3, but there's also some built-in tones. There's usually 4 per every. I think there's like 8 different preset sounds. One's bass, and you have acoustic, clean. I should just read them, shouldn't I? Glassy, crunch. Actually, I had this one on for metal because I was working on Sabotage from the Beastie Boys from my band. But for just a clean bass tone, not really playing anything substantial, just some sounds there. I think overall tone, it's got two, I think 8-inch speakers in there. Has better than my Fender Rumble 40, which I also use as my bass practice amp. But I really have, now that I've gotten a power supply that doesn't seem to want to shock me every time I touch it, I'll start messing around with some of the other features. And I think as a bass player, the, play along until it starts playing with me feature's not going to work. But I like the tone it gives. And I like the fact that I can Bluetooth my music right into it, or it's got a jack for headphones. It also has an auxiliary USB out to go into a computer sort of sound situation. But the headphones have an independent volume, so you can control your instrument volume separate from sounds coming into it, which is kind of cool. Because if I need to hear me more than I need to hear the music, I can change that pretty easily. So, for bass, it's limited. I'm not going to do everything on it with bass, but I did turn it off here. Let me turn it. It's on. I swear to God, it's on. But I'll show you where if I was like resting for a second and just maybe was leaning over to pick up something, I always throw my music that I'm learning on the floor and read from the floor. If my arm would hit and I would catch a string and the bridge, it seemed at the same time, I would feel that pinch. Now I've tried, I practiced with this new power supply for a good hour the other day and never had the problem. And I'm squishing my arm down to the strings, down to the posts on the pickups, and I'm not getting the shock. The other place I did start finding, at least on one of my other basses, that if I rested this way and if I caught the string and a fret at the same time, that would be enough of completing a circuit somewhere that I would get pinched. Now again, maybe a dozen other people commented about this. Some canceled their orders because of it. Again, third power supply later, I'm not getting that. Here, I'm going to unplug it while it's live. There we go. It wasn't too bad. So, people who won't ever know this is happening is somebody who has an acoustic. And here, I'll just set it to him by the acoustic tone. I haven't touched this guitar basically since I got it. It was a Christmas present from my work. I know some chords. I know 0 guitar songs, but no, I don't know, 40, 50, 60 other songs that I play on my bass. So here, there's no place to make that really metal on metal contact. There's no ground going to the bridge like there are on the other instruments. So if you're just using it for acoustic, you would never be in that situation. So I don't think acoustic players are ever going to know that you could get shocked. So let's unplug it. I'm going to leave the amp on so you can get all that got off the racket. And the hum and the buzz, just so we know something is producing sound. Let me go into my other bass. I have two Fenders, Fender Jazz made in Mexico and a Fender P bass also made in Mexico. There we go. I still hear a little bit of a crackle in some cases. And I don't think I've actually used this bass yet on the new power supply. And yeah, no, I'm not. This is the one where I was getting a pinch when I would hit the fret and string, but no. I didn't really have anything in mind to play. So the moral of the story is it exists. There's an amp behind here. You saw it. Look, here, I'll do this now. Let's take my phone. Again, I am the worst YouTube video maker. There's that. I am playing. Sound is coming out of that thing. So it does work. It has a built-in tuner, which, buy a separate tuner. It's not the greatest. So again, I'm picking on some of the guys on Facebook who are going to see this, and they're mad because they still haven't got theirs. And I'm sorry, I don't know. I ordered it from their site. The first rack of orders, which were the most discounted, were gone by the time I remembered that this was coming out and placed my order. I got in on the second group. People are like, well, I ordered mine in January and still haven't gotten it. Well, there's guys who ordered it in November and still haven't gotten it. And no, Positive Grid, I think they're just either didn't realize how much interest there was going to be in this. And when you see all the features that are available for it and everything it can do, it seems like it's pretty damn cool. I don't think you're going to put this up on stage. You'd have to mic it at best. Maybe if you're playing somewhere small and there's a PA system and you're doing acoustic set, probably would be perfect for that. I know that there are 3-watt guitar amps that the guys reviewing them will swear that as long as you mic it, it'll be perfect. This is 40 watts, but it doesn't have an out. It does not have an output to another cabinet or to a board to hook it directly into a mixer or something like that. It doesn't have that. I don't think you can put pedals with it. That's a lot to try to configure in the middle of a show, and that's why I go direct in and I go through a Boss ME50B is my bass pedal, just so I can switch tones for all the weird different songs that we play. This would just be too much work, especially in a guitar playing situation, to be able to switch. But if you can play all of Eric Johnson's, what the hell is that song? I'm going to blank on it. A tone exists for exactly what his guitar sounds like. Again, you want to play Eruption, you can play it note for note like Eddie Van Halen. This has the tone built, or you can get it through the amp and play. That stuff is mind-boggling, and there's an infinite number of combinations. So have fun with that. But again, I wanted people to show that we did get this amp. It does exist. It's not a scam. Positive Grid has been around for a long time. Do they bite off more than they can chew? Sure. Why everybody is shocked that this is made in China? I don't know. Some guy said he just found out it was made in China, canceled his order. If you want to do that for political reasons, then I have nothing against that. But if you are doing it because you think it's crap, well, go find something electronic in your house that's not made in China, Japan, or Korea. And if you're against Asian-made electronics, you will be probably sitting there in dark silence, because that's where things are made. It is cheaper. It is cheap labor. China will build your factory. China will hire your labor for you. They will pay you 1 for 1 of every item you make and sell out of that factory. That's why so many things are made in China. So off my soapbox. We're going to practice some bass. Again, it's here. It's right behind that phone. It's making that bass noise. Isn't that cool? So anyway, I hope you had fun watching my video. I know I had fun making it. You know, watch my snakes on my channel too. I get all kinds of stuff. Chickens coming in May. Got a garden growing. I need more to do. What can I tell you? But again, my name's John. Thanks for watching this video. Sorry if you felt like I was picking on you guys on Facebook, but you know, people wanted to see the amp. Here it is. We're playing it. It's awesome. I like it. Let's see what it can do. But anyway, sorry the video was bad. It's hard to do so many things at once. Catch me doing something else completely different next time. Thanks. I'm John. See you later.